Welcome to the Private Practice Startup Podcast, where we help ambitious private practitioners across the globe to brand themselves and grow their dream practices. We chat with successful private practitioners, business coaches, and marketing experts, bringing you tons of practice building ninja tips. Visit privatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and our signature marketing e-course. Here are your co-hosts, Dr. Kate Campbell and Katie Lemieux.
Hey, Startup Nation. Welcome back to another episode of the Private Practice Startup Podcast. I hope you guys are doing great today. We are recording this Thanksgiving week. So by the time this comes out, it'll be way past the holidays and Thanksgiving. But I hope you guys are doing very well and that you are having a good start to 2021. We are probably really excited to be out of 2020. It's been a crazy year for all of us and so many. Today's guest is Danielle Swim, and Danielle is going to be talking about, again, a topic that you guys chose, getting organized in private practice. And what a great way to start the year off with this topic. And honestly, I think it's great any time of the year. So if you're not organized yet, it's really crucial to get yourself organized, especially if you want to scale and grow your business. But before we dive in, we hope that you guys joined us last week as we had Mike McDermott. He is the creator of FreshBooks, which is accounting software. And he spoke with us about why culture is strategy. If you know anything about Kate and I, we love actually talking about business culture and why this is so important. Even if you're party of one, a solopreneur, culture is still important for your business. So we hope that you guys listen to that if you haven't already. And if you're brand new, welcome to the Startup Nation family. We are excited to have you guys. We have a gift for you. Head on over to privatepracticestartup.com, slide on over to the resources tab, and there you will see our HIPAA form that is customizable and completely attorney approved. Like it or not, we have to have paperwork, folks. So go ahead and grab that as our gift to you. A little bit about Danielle, our guest today. Danielle Swim is a private practice owner in Annapolis, Maryland. She's also known as the Entrepreneurial Therapist. Say that 3 times fast. You can find her most on Instagram, where she provides coaching and courses that teach therapists how to build and scale their dream businesses. She's a mama of a 1-year-old baby girl and loves to push therapists to think outside the box and dream big. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, Entrepreneurial Therapist is a mouthful.
It is. I wonder, how many letters in all of that, if we combine them? Maybe it is longer than the alphabet. I'm not even sure.
Yeah. Funny story. I actually, when I bought the domain for Entrepreneurial Therapist, I spelled it wrong the first time.
Funny story for you, when we actually incorporated, so our legal name is K2 Visionaries and our DBA is the Private Practice Startup. I spelled Visionaries wrong and then had to pay a fee to, spell it correctly. So
I forgot about that.
That's so funny. Yeah.
It's par for the course. I'll find other people's typos, but man, I make so many of them. It's crazy. Even if I've read things 2 and 3 times, I don't know why.
I mean, with spell check, we don't really have to remember how to spell things anymore. And with dictating into our phones, we don't need to spell. So when we actually have to spell, we make mistakes.
Yeah.
So Danielle, I'm actually curious, 1, what got you into therapy? And then 2, what got you into helping therapists?
Yeah. Good question. So I knew that I wanted to be in private practice even when I was in grad school. So I knew that was always the goal. And then as soon as my provisional license was up, I knew I was going to open my own practice. And that's what I did. I started a dog walking business when I was in community college. And so I've always been an entrepreneur. I always knew I wanted to work for myself and build, a company. And therapy was always my passion. And so when I started my practice, I actually started an Instagram account called the Entrepreneurial Therapist. And so when I did that, I just showed people behind the scenes of hey, this is the office I picked and this is me moving into it. And eventually therapists found me and they started asking me questions through DMs about oh, wait, but how did you do this? How did you get clients? And then I was on insurance and I came off insurance and I showed that journey, which was not super easy for me to be now I have to totally change my marketing. And I kept getting the question of how are you doing this? How can I do this? And that's how I started helping therapists. And I love it. I love doing both, my private practice and coaching therapists.
Go ahead, Kate.
Sorry. If you guys are on Instagram and you haven't already checked out Danielle's stuff, I love her videos. She does such a great job of creating these creative and value-packed videos. So definitely check her out there. Katie, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, I really love that you share that because, I know for me, right, and this is like many years ago, right, it's kind of like when I thought about social media, I'm like a private person. But when you are in an online world and you have an online company, like you have to begin to break those barriers. And then especially as therapists, as we have all those boundaries and things like that. And I love that you were willing to just authentically show like where you were at in your process. And people love that. That's like reality TV. It's like, oh, look, the Kardashians are eating lunch, but people are so engaged about that. Why? I don't know. It's just this really interesting thing about us humans is we like to see exactly what people are doing. And that's really engaging. And then the other aspect is the perception. When you are on social media and sharing and things like that, people perceive like, wow, you're doing really well. You're blowing up. And you're like, maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but that's the perception because you just kind of see me engaging and just kind of sharing step by step. And I love that because you don't have to be at a certain place. It's like you showed your journey and people have been engaged with you through the process. And then naturally they'll want to connect with you. As you share that story, it really reminds me a lot about Ernesto Segismundo. And he's always on, social media, just kind of sharing about his day or what he's doing and his, the trials and tribulations. So I love that that's how you started. And then it was just this beautiful natural segue into what you're doing now.
Yeah, me too. Especially, on social media, I think we can smell when something's inauthentic really fast now because there's so many people online. So like I always tell people, build an audience first. And that takes years and years to do. But just like you're saying, show up authentically and then you'll figure out how to turn it into something profitable later.
Nice. And so before we dive into today's topic, let's just take a quick moment for our sponsor.
Is managing your practice stressing you out? Try Therapy Notes. It makes billing, notes, scheduling, and telehealth a whole lot easier. Check it out, and you will quickly see why it's rated the highest EHR on Trustpilot with over 1,000 verified customer reviews and an average customer rating of 4.9 or 5 stars. You'll notice the difference from the first day you sign up for the trial. They offer live phone support 7 days a week. So when you have questions, you can quickly reach someone who can help. You are never wasting time looking for answers. If you're coming from another EHR, they make the transition really easy. Therapy Notes will import your client's demographic data free of charge during your trial so you can get going right away. Use the promo code PPS to get your first 2 months for free or try out Therapy Notes for free, no strings attached, including their very reliable telehealth platform. Make 2021 the best year yet with Therapy Notes.
Okay, guys, it's sponsor time. You know what? Instead of reading a script about Gusto's payroll and benefits, we wanted to tell you what small business owners say, the people who use Gusto every day. Here's what one small business owner says. With Gusto, I think of payroll as a 30-second job. The website is so friendly and a joy to use. Friendly payroll? You don't hear that every day. And how about Amy from Utah? Amy says, I love Gusto so much. It's so painless. It's like going to the spa, and we have great options and rates, even though we're a super small team. Like going to the spa? Wow. And here's what Mneet says about Gusto's support team. Whenever something comes up, I reach out and literally 24 hours later, they tell us what to do or assure us that we've already handled it. Smart technology and friendly humans, that's super cool. Honestly, the list goes on, and right now our listeners get 3 months free when they go to gusto.com/PPS. Yep, 3 months of payroll, benefits, administration, and more, totally free. Again, that's gusto.com/PPS. All right. Getting organized in private practice. So are you an organized person, like overall, or okay?
Yeah, extremely. So the day I found out I was pregnant, I started a Google Doc on everything I needed to get done before the baby came. This totally shows my personality. It was like a checklist of before second trimester, do this, before third. And it was like, buy a crib, these things that it's just my personality. I like to plan. I like things to be organized, and it's naturally a gift I have. But in private practice, it's put to the test because you have so many balls up in the air, especially when you're first starting. And then as you're growing, the organization can kind of become overwhelming for so many therapists.
Yeah, for sure. So where should we start on this? Getting organized in private practice.
Yeah. So I always tell therapists the very first place to start when you want to get organized is to really do a time audit. So for a lot of business owners, entrepreneurs, we think we don't have enough time in the day to do all of the things that we need to do. So the first step is to really do a time audit. So I like to recommend doing a time audit for at least 3 to 4 work days. So don't just do it for one day. Do it for 3 or 4, work days where you're actually working. And what you're going to do is you're going to write down everything that you do from the time you get up to the time you go to bed. And you can just set an alarm for every 2 hours and just jot down what you've been doing. And I want the minute, like how many times did you check your email? How many times did you check Instagram? Were you checking Instagram in between sessions? Were you looking at your phone in between sessions? Were you listening to voicemails when you couldn't even return those calls during that time? So we can just really understand where your time is going. So that way you can really start to get organized.
And so Danielle, this is a clear snapshot of what you're doing. So don't change the behaviors right now, right? It's like an idea of truly what you're doing and where your time is going.
Yeah, but naturally when you're doing a time audit, your behaviors will change too. I think we know that as therapists. When you're recording something, then it's easy to be more aware of what you're actually doing. And so after you do the time audit for 3 to 4 days, you're going to go back and you're going to look at everything that you did and you're going to think, what were you doing? But then also, how were you feeling during those times? What times of the day were you starting to feel burnt out? Did you go into sessions feeling frazzled? Like, where does your energy lie? And I think therapists, we are really good at pushing through so we can be really disconnected from our own body and where our energy is. But as an entrepreneur, we really need to be aware of this because this is key. And so were you feeling, frazzled in the morning because things were hectic with the kids? Are there things we can do in the morning to help you transition into a better headspace before starting the day? Because your energy is really going to help with you feeling organized in private practice. So I really want to start with you and how you're feeling so that you can get more organized.
What are some of your kind of quick energy boosts, like shifting your emotional state, thoughts, ideas?
Yeah. So one of my favorites is really focusing on transitions. So we wear so many hats between, I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm managing a house and a business, and transitioning between all of those roles can get exhausting. And so before I came into the office today, I'm talking with my mother-in-law about Christmas cookies, and the scheduling that. And then I come in and I have a full schedule and I need to wear a completely different hat and I can't be thinking about this other stuff. So creating a transition from one role to the next is also going to help you feel a lot more organized. So for me, to transition from mama mode to therapist mode, I come in my office and the first thing I do is I do a meditation, even if it's 5 minutes, even if I don't want to do a meditation. And normally I don't want to, but I feel a lot better after it's done because I feel more organized and grounded. So transitioning from one role to the next is really going to conserve your energy.
That is something that is so important. And one of the things that I miss so much about pre-pandemic life, because right now we're in Thanksgiving week. You guys are hearing this. It's the first week of 2021. I'm sure the pandemic is still very much happening at the point you're hearing this. But that is one of the things that I've missed the most about working from home and not having those transitions, having 2 kids, homeschooling, and having to wear so many hats and not having to commute to the office, not having those transition times and having to be so much more intentional about that is just vital.
Yeah, I completely agree. Our nervous system is just shot from, if I'm in session and I can hear my baby crying in a different part of the house, that's exhausting. And it's really hard to feel organized when that's going on. And so there's some things that are in our control. And if you can do a transition, even letting the dog out back before you start your work day, getting outside and then transitioning into, okay, now I'm a business owner and a therapist, and taking another transition also after sessions are over. So taking a shower before you have the nanny leave or anything like that. So you can transition back into, okay, now I'm off of work. Now I'm done.
Yeah. I like the time audit stuff. It's funny. I don't think I've always heard about time audit, but I don't think I've ever actually put pen to paper to actually see my own time audit. So I'd be interested what that looks like.
Yeah, I do it quarterly. It gives you so much information. It really does. And I didn't do it for a long time. I heard people suggest it and I was like, this is so dumb. I'm so organized. But what I found was I'm checking email a lot, even though I was telling people I wasn't. I was checking email a lot and I was looking at my phone in between sessions. And so I would move into the next session feeling frazzled. And if you do that 3-4 times in a row, no wonder you're feeling burnt out by the end of the day. And I was also going to say, so for the time audit, you're going to go through and you're going to work on these transitions and how did you feel during all of this. The next step is you're also going to really be able to see what roles you are playing. So then you're going to be able to start identifying the different roles that you have in private practice. This is why I like doing the time audit for a week, because you know, if you're not doing marketing on a Monday and you're doing the time audit, you're not going to see that role that you have. And I'm just going to list some common roles that everyone in private practice normally has, and that's an admin role. So you have admin time when you're checking email, phone. If you have a social media account for your practice, you may be checking messages for that. You also have a marketing role and then a CEO big picture role. So this is when you're really like looking at the practice and not working in it. So you're not seeing clients. You're maybe looking at the numbers. What project do you want to do next? How are things flowing? How are things going? Another role is an accounting role, which a lot of therapists dread doing. Like, getting into your books, looking at the numbers, looking at your account. That's an important role to schedule every week. And then, of course, when you're doing the clinical and you're a therapist. And then the last 2 roles that I see common are being a student. So doing the CE trainings, but also being a student of business, like listening to podcasts, like such as this one about how to enhance your private practice, and then having a mindset role. So, what are you doing to improve your mindset or to just improve yourself? Are you meditating? Are you journaling? How are you feeling? We want to prevent burnout. So that's another role that I really like to schedule.
I like to combine a lot of the things that I'm doing, right? Like, usually when I'm showering, I'm listening to like a podcast, right? So like I'm getting that stuff in. And even today, like, I had a friend, who had called me and we had to like speak, and it was like, I'm going to be in meetings and on this podcast from 10 to 2. Like there's no time and I need to call. So I like literally worked out and had my earpods in and was talking with her while I was working out. So really like finding those moments to do those things is really important. For this year, for me with the pandemic, and I've had my own like neck issues and stuff like that, I haven't been able to read a book. So it's like a lot of podcasts or audibles or things like that, which you can listen to while you're working out or on the go, and combining those things. And it is a nice little transition, especially if you've been sitting on telehealth or in the office, to be able to shift and change to bring your energy levels back up. I know yesterday I was just like exhausted, like wiped out, like just wanted to take a nap. And I'm like, no, I got a lot of stuff to do. So we went and took a walk, and it was like, all right, just like you said, Danielle, like I didn't want to, I just wanted to take a nap, but I knew I had to kind of get that energy shifting and going. So I love that you talk about not only doing the audit, but like, how do you feel? And then really beginning to analyze your audit of the roles that you play. So that's awesome. So let's just take another moment for our sponsor.
How many times have you responded to a client on Psychology Today only to hear that they contacted 20 other providers so they won't work with you? It's frustrating. The truth is that White Pages style directories leave both clients and counselors feeling burned. We want to make therapy better for everyone involved, and that's why we made Thrivelution. Thrivelution is a revolutionary matching system based on the idea that therapy is most effective when the match between therapist and client is high quality. We provide your practice with quality, low-cost client referrals that are matched with you and only you in seconds. If you're ready to get more clients, sign up with our exclusive promo code for 1 month free of matches at thrivelution.com. The promo code is MATCH21. That's MATCH21 at thrivelution.com.
All right. So after you do the audit and really look at this with a different lens, what would be next?
Yeah. So then the last step, which is my favorite, because I love planning. I don't know about you guys, but I get the sense that you guys are pretty organized as well, and love to pull out your planners and plan. Now it's the beginning of 2021 and we get to look at the new year, and that's always such an exciting thing. So buy a paper pen planner. That's what I recommend. Get a really pretty one that you like. It doesn't have to be fancy, but this is when you're going to pull out your planner, and this is going to help you feel really organized. So when you pull out your planner, you're going to have little sticky notes can be helpful for each role that you need to schedule for that week. So if you need to do marketing, if you need to have a block for marketing that week, which I really like scheduling marketing for the same day and time every week. Because what I've noticed from a lot of therapists too is like they're not marketing and then they feel guilty about not marketing that entire week. And so it's always on their mind. It's impacting the rest of their business because they're not sure what to do or how to do it. They don't know if they're doing it enough. So if you could schedule, okay, every Tuesday I'm going to market during the times of 10 to 11. And just get that on paper, that can be really helpful. And then you can figure out, okay, if you don't know what marketing is, then scheduling a time to learn what marketing strategy you'll be doing or what that's going to look like. But at least you have it down on paper so you know what day and time it's actually going to happen. And then scheduling all these other roles. So one of the things that I will mention is the admin is more of a buffer block. And if people want to learn more about organizing their planner and their year, the book, The 12-Week Year is really good because it talks about buffer blocks and then strategic blocks, which are those longer blocks. But a buffer block is these really short tasks that you have to do that are annoying and that don't really move the needle forward, such as checking email. So for me, I do a check engine every morning. As therapists, we can't go a really long time without checking email or our phone if we're working because there might be a clinical emergency that day or different things come up. And so I like to do a check engine before I start. And that's where I'm just looking at email that I need to respond to at that time, immediately. I don't open it unless I'm actually able to respond to it in the moment. So you touch it one time, that saves you a lot of time and helps you get organized. And then you can schedule a day, every Tuesday, you're going to get to inbox 0. That's something that's helped me a lot. You just go through your emails and you delete the ones that you don't need and you reply to the ones that you do. And that way you're not in your emails all day, every day. And then you're able to schedule these other roles too, such as, when you're going to learn more about business, what time of the week, different things like that.
One of the things that I like to do is just kind of set myself up for success in the sense of when I am working on a task, because I notice for me, it's if I'm doing copywriting or something like that and I have a block, I will go to email because it's easier, right? So I literally close out those windows. So I'm not tempted to just hop on over and just answer one quick email because that definitely really distracts.
And I wanted to share a resource as well. You're mentioning having an actual physical planner, which can be so helpful. Michelle Hardman has such an awesome planner for therapists. It's called the Primed Planner. We'll put it in the resources section, but it's so pretty and organized, and it's a really cool resource. Something that could really help in addition to what you're talking about.
Yeah, awesome. I haven't heard of that planner. I'm always getting asked too, what planners to use. And I like Erin Condren. I think they're really pretty, but really any planner works. You just want to really get organized about scheduling your week. And then I always tell people, they're like, do I really need a paper and pen planner? This seems archaic to be using paper and pen, but it really does help you get organized. You can color code it. You can get it on pen and paper. There's something about doing this that really helps you feel calmer going into the week. And so pick a day to do your planning for the week ahead as well. So for me, every Friday, I plan for the following week. Or it might be every Sunday, you're going to plan for the week coming up. And then when you know, hey, my energy is at the highest in the morning and I dread doing marketing, I'm going to schedule marketing for the morning, because if I schedule it for 2 p.m., there's no way I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to email, like you were saying, and it's just going to be too hard. If you have have a social media account for your practice, then you might do content planning. You might do a strategic block where you're planning for the next 2 weeks all the content that you're going to be putting out. So doing the time audit can also be helpful, because if you notice like, hey, I'm spending Monday morning frazzled because I'm trying to get a post out and I can't think of anything to write, and it leaves me going into sessions really frazzled and frantic, and that just snowballs throughout the rest of the day, then let's get a scheduling system going for your social media content. And there's so many systems that you can start to put into place when you realize where your energy is going and what your schedule actually looks like.
Nice. I like it. What's next?
Yeah. And so I guess another thing that you can really focus on too is working on the CEO mindset. A lot of therapists ask me, what do you do for that mindset block that you are planning for? And I think a lot of therapists, I notice that they'll feel uncomfortable if I use the word business owner. They're like, wait, I'm a business owner? I own a private practice, but I'm not a business owner. And it's like, in the eyes of the IRS, you own a business. Therefore, you're a business owner. And so doing some mindset work really will help your practice grow, because the more that you grow, the more your practice will grow. And I think that's where I was falling short a lot in the beginning when I started my practice, as I was doing more of what I call like manic marketing. I was listening to all the podcasts, reading all the books, doing all the things, and I wasn't getting new clients, and I didn't understand why. And it was my mindset. I was so worried about, what if this doesn't work? What if this fails? I was up in the middle of the night when the phone wasn't ringing, and I really needed to work on my mindset. And I was working with a business coach at the time, and she pointed it out. She was like, girl, you are so stressed. Like it will come out, whether you believe in like law of attraction or just that clients can feel like the way you're marketing. Other professionals that you want to refer to you can feel it. And so we really need to work on your mindset on a regular basis. So the mindset block is not something to skip over. We want to include that in your planning and figure out, is it meditation? Is it journaling? Is it working with your own mindset coach? What can you do to improve your mindset every week?
Danielle, can you share a little bit about how you overcame that? Because I know so many therapists are stuck right there. And especially when it comes to marketing, it's that scarcity like mindset and the overwhelm and running. So what worked for you?
Yeah, I heard Brooke Castillo on her podcast one time say that you have to believe that it's going to happen when all of the evidence around you says that it's not. And that always resonated with me. So even when your phone isn't ringing and you're not getting new clients, you have to believe with every fiber of your being that this is my reality right now, but it won't be like this forever. And so for me, in order to actually believe that, I would write out exactly what my practice was going to look like, and so I would write out every day, like, this is how much money I'm making, this is how many clients I'm seeing, this is how I feel when I go into work. But honestly, the biggest thing for me was unplugging and not working helped my mindset a lot, because I had to wait in this belief of, this is going to happen. It's going to come. I'm going to do this marketing each week. And the rest of the time that I have, I'm not going to market for 20 hours a week. That's manic, and it's just not working. So taking time to work on myself and my own stress levels really just pours over into your mindset and your practice.
I'm so glad you shared that, because, when I reflect back on where Kate and I started, right, and that, I like that you call it manic marketing. We call it spaghetti on the wall marketing or spray and pray marketing. And I remember the panic of, because you're coming from the mentality of, well, when I do work, I get paid. So then if I'm not doing work, I'm not getting paid. And that's not how you get paid as an entrepreneur, right? It's more, with private practice, it's direct service if you are providing the service as well. But it's really about generating ideas in your business and all of this stuff. And I know it took me years to undo all of that. And what I realized a lot about business, it's very counterintuitive. And so my spouse and I have a joke. It's like, well, if your business isn't doing well, just go take a vacation, right? That you really want to take, because your mind starts to go to the vacation. You're like, oh, I really need a break. And then all of a sudden this stuff comes flooding in. You're like, but I was scheduling a break because the energy shifted.
It's funny because literally every time Katie goes on vacation, she floods me with ideas. Every single time.
I get creative on vacation because I'm like relaxed. I'm like, oh, and this and that. And
yeah. And that's so true. Your mind just needs time to turn off and not push through. And then things will happen, but you have to allow it. And it's funny because, I mean, even in this moment, I'm on this podcast with you guys and I listen to your podcast all the time through this period. And I listen to other people's stories, but I imagined one day I'm going to be on their podcast and I'm going to tell my own story. Even when my caseload was like minuscule and I was, scraping dollars together to get by, I fully believed that I would live in this moment right now and be talking to you all. And here I am, and my caseload is full. I haven't been accepting new clients for a while because I just have too many. It's a good problem to have, but that is the key to the mindset piece. You have to believe it even when it's not occurring in that moment.
I love that you shared that. I got goosebumps on goosebumps. It's like a full circle moment. And I also love that you shared Brooke Castillio's podcast. It's a really great resource for mindset work for anybody who needs help in that area. I find it super inspirational. So thank you for sharing your story. Danielle, what do you want our listeners to take away from today's message?
Yeah, that you don't have to feel overwhelmed in private practice. There's definitely a way to plan. There's a way to be in private practice where you feel at ease. Your energy is not depleted. At the end of the day, you do not have to feel exhausted, run down, and full of self-doubt. Doing these steps really will help you just feel calmer. It's definitely possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I know that there was actually so much even more to talk about, and maybe we'll have to have you on for a part 2 as we kind of dive more into the systems aspect of private practice. But you gave a ton of helpful tips, and we definitely really appreciate that. And everything that we had talked about, we'll put in the show notes. But Danielle, I know that you have a giveaway for our audience. What is that?
Yeah, so I have a free giveaway. It's a time audit that walks you through this exact process that I just spoke to. So it takes you through all the steps, and it even has a little bit more information on how to do the time audit in a really pretty creative way, so that you can have it on paper and pen. You can print it out and do it for those 3 to 4 days that you talked about. It makes it super easy to do.
Awesome. So we'll put that on the show notes page so you guys can access that. And we hope that you guys join us next week. I lost track of who's joining us next week. We have Tony from Wise Hire talking about hiring and hiring all the right people and how to do that. Kate?
We appreciate you guys listening, being loyal listeners to our podcast. And if this is your first time, we appreciate you being here too. If you're loving what you're hearing, we encourage you to subscribe, rate, and review to the show. Share it with your friends and colleagues. We love being able to reach more people and help more therapists to really live the life that they love and have practices that they love as well. So we will look forward to continuing to inspire you on your journey from startup to mastery.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks for joining us on The Private Practice Startup. Visit theprivatepracticestartup.com for awesome resources, free trainings, attorney-approved private practice paperwork, and so much more.